So, the new patch was released yesterday, and with it brought some insane balance changes. I'm going to list each change / added content, so feel free to use the timestamps. Universal passives. First up, we have a brand new one called Close Combat. It has a simple effect of boosting your damage by 20% to enemies within 5 meters from you. In case you don't know what that looks like, here's the distance. Another brand new one called Sniper. It's the opposite of Close Combat, as it boosts your damage by an insane 40% to enemies further than 20 meters. Here's what it looks like. And the last one, Excalibur. Recently players have been struggling to get kills with the blades. This should help out tremendously as it boosts your damage on all melee weapon attack by 50%. That's it for the new ones. We have one passive getting a rework. No longer do we have Fully Prepared, but a way better regenerative charge. It no longer gives the insane 40% ult charge, but instead gives you the ultimate straight away like Fully Prepared, and gives you the 20% ult charge, so that skilled players are able to get 2 ultimates within a round. And this is a change I personally suggested in my previous videos, so it's super cool to see that the devs are listening. On to the element changes. First up is my boulder buddies, Earth. Aerial Obliterator has received a slight nerf, as no longer does it give an insane damage bonus with no drawbacks. Now you will need to work harder to land shots in the air, as if you are grounded, you will lose 20% of your damage on earth walls. Stone Stance is also getting a nerf by reducing its damage and walk speed by 10%. This is a huge nerf, but much needed, as players would get a crazy damage buff with little drawback. But enough with the negatives. Let's move on to the positives, as we have 2 new passives. First one is Tremor Sense. This new passive allows you to see all enemies on the map through terrain as long as they are on the ground. This is insane, as now players will be able to see through their earth walls before attacking. Also, a huge damage boost to earth spikes and traps. So maybe spikes are good now? The second addition is the Mountain, and my personal favorite earth technique, as it increases the size of your boulders by 40%. Making the Saw Spear Stasis playstyle so much better. And the final change is a buff to the ground slam attack, so that you fall to the ground quicker. On to water, and man, water was strong before, but it's insane now. No question it's currently the best. They have buffed Absolute Zero by 10%, so maybe there'll be some ice benders out there. Like Earth, water also has 2 new passives. First one is Squidman. This passive increases the length of your tentacle.
What do you mean by that?
But your tentacle damage is cut in half. Also, your grapple speed and maximum speed has been increased. With this passive, you're able to zoom around the map and laugh at the thought of falling off the map. Definitely super strong. The next one, and my personal favorite for water, is Frostbite, as it slows enemies when damaged by 30% for 3 seconds. This new passive allows for so many combos and easier icicle shots. Another super strong one. And the last change is a small nerf to the water grapple damage, and thank God, as it was super oppressive and extremely annoying to fight against. Let's talk about air. As you guys know, I dislike air, so I refuse to level it up, so I don't have any images of the new passive for you guys. First one is Air Stepping, a brand new passive giving you 100% dash charge and recharge rate, so that you are always on the move, but with a strong effect, it needs a debuff. So you will lose 50% of the dash duration, basically meaning your dashes are shorter, so be careful when dodging. Next up for the new passives is Blown Away. I don't really see the point, as it gives you 80% knockback, but I don't know, I'm not an air user, maybe it's good. Now the current passives have been changed. The one I absolutely despise, Aerial Artistry. It's being nerfed so that you take 30% more damage while airborne. Absolutely love this change, as constantly looking up to fight these people was so frustrating. Thank you devs. And the last change to air. Flurry of the Winds has been buffed for players who love a more grounded playstyle, as now you will get a 50% walk and glider speed. Coupled with a 30% dash speed, in my opinion, this is a super strong passive. And the last element on the list, fire. My fire brethren, your suffering has not been in vain, as this patch has turned fire into one of the strongest elements. We didn't get super good passives, but our new attacks are insane. First up, we got a huge buff to Burning Embrace. No longer do you lose 20% of your damage, but also we now deal 0.8 damage instead of 7.5. Overall, this passive seems to be very strong now. And like the others, we also got two new passives. First one is Rocket Thrust, and unfortunately it only increases flight duration on Jetpack, Flamethrower, and the new attack, Fire Leap, by 50%. Personally, I would have liked a speed buff. And it gets even worse with the new TikTok passive, Flaming Aura. This passive lights enemies around you on fire, I think dealing around 0.2 damage, overall pretty weak.
That's it for the passives. Let's move on to Fire's changes. First thing they did was they greatly increased the range to Firebolt. Second change they did is now Fire Orb explodes on impact, rather than bouncing. They have removed Fire Spear, Fire Whips, and of course Fire Spear Vault. But what we got in return are three new moves. First one is Fire Leap. The way you use it is as you have flamethrowers activated, you just press grip and then move your hands around and it'll fly you in that direction. Once you either land on the ground or let go of grip, it'll release a shockwave dealing 3 points of damage. Fire Shield. The way you cast this is you get a charge blast and then move your hand forward as you would a laser. Use cases for the Fire Shield is, believe it or not, it actually parries. So if you time an attack well enough, the shield will parry. It will instantly detonate if it takes damage. So if you was to take like a fire arrow, it would blast you away. Obviously, it detonates on impact, so you can use it for mobility. But my favorite thing about Fire Shield is in my previous fire guide, I love to throw a firebolt at my feet and then attack with the other one. You don't have to charge up the orb anymore to get two firebolts, because Shield will give you mobility and damage. And the last new ability, Fire Javelin. The way you cast it is you get a firebolt, press grip, you get this now nostalgic spear. All you do is you throw it. Remember, it does have less range. It does less damage than the firebolt, but it does leave this damage over time flame ring, so could be pretty useful against earth users.
Overall, this was a great update, and if the devs keep this up, I can't wait to see what this game looks like in a year. Also, you may have noticed that I've recently made a fire guide. With fire getting a small rework, expect to see an updated version soon. But alright, I'm done yapping. Have a good one.